Shalom Yashrala, this your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And citation, much love for you, I can push this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth. And then during afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into, it's actually two different articles real quick, but it's pretty much painting the same picture. All right, as we can see, all these different prophecies taking place. All right, as we're getting closer and closer to the end. All right, we see the MOTB system being set up and things like that. And now, even with looking at some of these here articles and things like that, or how they're trying to undermine certain payment systems and things like that on a larger scale, as far as sanctions on Russia and things like that. You have to understand that at the end of the day, that all these things are, they all working in tandem with one another. There's a story that they put out that they want us to believe. All right, then they have the story and the narrative that they have going on, behind the scenes, and I always liken this to, watching WWF. You as the consumer are made to believe a certain storyline, all right, a certain, certain information that's going on. This wrestler is beefing with that wrestler. They don't like each other. They're always at odds ends. But what you don't see is that behind the scenes that they have writers, all right, behind the scenes that are writing out the drama, the beef, the matches and things like that. What you don't see that these guys, they go and they practice their matches beforehand and everything else like that. What you don't see is them calling out, certain moves to put on a show. All right, what you're watching is a production. All right, so we know that all these things are leading together to bring in what Esau's New World Order. All right, but ultimately, we're focusing on the storyline of prophecy, taking place. All right, because we know that, when he's about to fill his belly, when he's about to set up and establish his New World Order, that's when the Most High is going to rain those missiles down upon him. But as we can see, the rest of these prophecies taking place, as far as the whore hating the beast, all right, and burning her with fire, all right, or even before you get to that step, how, they would start to undermine them. We see these things being played out. So this article here says Putin explains how Russia and Turkey will bypass the dollar. Now, just a quick overview of that is, you got the sanctions on Russia with this natural gas and everything else like that. And one of the ways that they do that is basically by, the payment method. You have to understand what the petrodollar is and everything else like that, by buying and selling and moving and converting oil and things like that. They have to convert their money into U.S. dollars to be able to make these transactions possible. All right, it's just like, let's say, hypothetically, let's say you want to buy anything from Amazon.com, right? You can't really buy anything from Amazon.com with actual physical cash. So you have to transfer it into a digital realm type, whether it be a debit card, credit card, Amazon card, or prepaid debit card or something like that, to be able to make this transaction go through. All right, so and if you wanted to cut somebody off from buying from Amazon, just like, hey man, we're not accepting your payment to be able to get, let's just say hypothetically, an Amazon card. Let's say the only way to be able to buy off Amazon was with these Amazon cards. Like, look, Amazon cards are currently unavailable right now. You got to find a different way. Now, if there was a different system that was out there that allowed you to bypass buying those Amazon cards, it's like, hey, now we got a different type of card that you can put in and you can buy. This is what they're doing. So it says, and again, you have problem, reaction, solution. To be able to control all these things, what are they ultimately going to try to get into? That digital all right, that chip. All right, but here it says Moscow is eager to significantly strengthen trades with Ankara, which is Turkey, in all areas of interest. And, Turkey is a NATO ally. All right, and we already seen how these people, the Turks, have been undermining, the West, U.S., NATO, and things like that, especially when it comes to this the S-400 and things like that. So, hey, how much more when it comes to these sanctions, man? All right, it says Russian gas supplies to Turkey will be partly paid for in rubles, President Vladimir Putin said during a meeting with Turkish counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan on Friday. The meeting took place on the sideline of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which is being headed by China's another conglomerate group, all right, undermining and outing America. It says, we are ready to significantly increase supplies to Turkey in all directions that are of interest to the country. Our agreement on natural gas supplies of Russian origin to Turkey, with the payment of 25% of these supplies in Russian rubles, will start working in the nearest future, the Russian president stated. So, hey, the plan is to so-called cut Russia off from being able to sell, and how do I say, basically to off their goods. All right, because as long as Russia can off their goods, they can keep bringing in money. So it's just like the Ukrainian situation, man. As long as America and the West keep supplying Ukraine with weapons, they can keep fighting this here war. Well, as long as Russia can keep exporting their goods, their natural gas and energy and things like that, hey, they keep making money on in. It's going, kind of in tandem with the the sanctions. You know, they're trying to stop Russia, or what the sanctions is put on Russia to do what? To stop them from getting the income. All right. It's just like you going to work and it's like, look, you know, we got you in this deal. We suspended you from work. You can't come to work, or we don't put you on a schedule. But then all of a sudden, you know, you go out and go get you a side job. It's like, damn, we thought we was cutting off his income by taking his job away. But ultimately, you know, they have these things that are cut out like that, man. All right. So it says, it's like continuing on. It says, earlier reports emerged that Erdogan intended to ask Putin for a 25% discount on gas supplies. According to the report by Bloomberg, cited sources among Turkish officials, Erdogan also intend to make it possible to pay. What's you got going on over here, buddy? All right, it says, according to reports by Bloomberg, citing sources among senior Turkish officials, Erdogan also intended to make it possible to pay for part of the deliveries in the Turkish lira. All right, so again, trying to cut out from using this American dollar. You know, people would say, well, why wouldn't they pay for it in their own currencies and things like that? Again, it's just like, hey, why can't you just pay for your Amazon with that $100 bill that's in your pocket, man? You can't put that $100 bill to the screen of your phone and then all of a sudden pay for it like that, man. You got to have some type of digital currency to pay for it with, man. Whether it's your debit card, credit card, or Amazon gift card or something of that sort. All right. So now let's look at this other article here. It says Turkish banks targeted over Russian payment system. All right. It says lenders will be under scrutiny to make sure sanctions are being enforced. All right. And so, hey, who's putting the sanctions? It's the West. All right. In which Turkey is a part of this here plan. So they're trying to stop or you know, put Russia under siege with this, you know, basically with making income, let's say. All right. It says the U.S. and EU intended to put pressure on Turkish banks so that an anchor does not help Moscow bypass the sanctions. All right, the FT reported on Thursday, citing two Western officials familiar with the matter. Turkish banks that have integrated into Russia's Mir payment system will be on the spotlight of Western countries that are stepping up their efforts to watch over the enforcement of anti-Russian sanctions. Mir was developed by the Central Bank of Russia as a diplomatic alternative to Visa and MasterCard after the first round of sanctions was imposed on Moscow in 2014. It says, according to the outlet, the EU plans to send a delegation to express concerns to Turkish officials directly. All right, so basically, you know, that's pretty much all that we need to grab out of this here system. But, you know, basically what they did was pretty much backdoored, you know, made a backdoor situation to take place to be able to, you know, make these transactions possible. So Russia already knew what things was going to be happening. But you have, you know, situations going on, man. All right, you know, hey, these nations, not just Turkey, but also Germany and other EU nations, you know, they need to be able to get these deals off with Russia. But see, America has them in these situations where it's like, look, man, we're going to put sanctions on them, and we own the SWIFT system. So we're going to know, and we have the petrodollar. So, and it's set up that way. So we're going to know if y'all taking out these loans, because they got to go to America to get the money to be able to make these transactions possible. But in the same token, they go like, well, what if we, you know, we can go behind your back and do these things, whereas we don't need to use American dollars. We can go and use our own currencies, man, to make this here deal possible, man. All right, or we can set up our own little banking systems, our own little portals to be able to transmit this here money through. You know how like they say with the what they call it, Bitcoin and stuff like that, where it says, oh, this is on forgot there's a term they use, this untraceable type of currencies and stuff. Oh, it's, you know, they don't know, it's an anonymous way of doing these things and so on and so forth, so people wouldn't know what's going on. And this is pretty much what they have trying to go on to replace, you know, again, the SWIFT system to be able to make these transactions possible. But I want to go ahead and jump into Habakkuk 2 and let me read from verse 1. It says, and I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. And so, you know, it's one thing to just to tell you about, you know, hey, the beast is going to hate the whore and burn her with fire. America's allies are going to turn on America and everything else like that, and leave them out to dry and everything. Hey, but a lot of these different you know, well, people hearing these things, a lot of the times they'll sit there and be like, well, I don't believe that. I don't see how this is going to happen like that. Why would you think America's allies, are strong, they're not going to go anywhere? But we telling you that, you know, according to prophecy, this is what's going to happen, for one. But then as we see, we're watching the news and everything else like that, you know, ultimately we break these things down. But watching the news, when we see these things start to happen, we connect these things with prophecy. Look, these are the reasons why these things are going to start happening. These, you have problem, reaction, solution. Just for instance, people's natural reflexes. You walk up on somebody and swing on them. If they see you coming with that, they're going to flinch, they're going to duck, and they're going to do all these different things. Like, well, why did they flinch? Why did they move? Well, that's the reaction. I told you, if you was going to swing on them, this was going to be the reaction. So we're telling you, hey, these are the things that's bringing forth these here prophecies, man. Let's read verse 3. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So, hey, the vision that we're telling you about is for an appointed time, but at the end it's going to play itself out. At the end, you're going to see how all these things are going to be made possible. And we've made it, clear that you'll be able to understand it, clear for you to be able to see these things to happen. And we've broken these things down into you. Hey, man, look, this is what's going on. America's decided to go inside of these conflicts with these other nations, all right, and which these nations are life support for, America's allies. So putting these sanctions on Russia and things like that is disrupting. It's like Europe, more or less to say, is not in a direct conflict with Russia. But guess what? They're being affected by it. They're getting blows thrown to them indirectly by what? By following after these sanctions with America and the rest of their Western allies. So guess what? Russia, in return, not directly, but indirectly, was not even Russia, but America and the West have directly attacked their own people, all right, their own allies, by doing what? These sanctions on the EU, man. Why you think that they're over there in these here positions? So now it puts these people into a position of, let's read this in Obadiah 1:7. Puts them into this here position. We'll read it in the NLT as well, too. It says, Obadiah 1:7 in the KJV says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee, and they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there's no understanding in him. And that bread, is going into what? That support. It's just like, regular food and stuff like that. Like even with a baby, you feed a child and nourish it and feed it and everything else like that to raise up the child. But at the end all be all, America is the one that's propping up a lot of their allies and everything else like that. But in the NLT, it says all of your allies, all right, NATO, the EU, all of your allies will turn against you. And we see that with the EU as far as them being cut off economically and things like that, going into this energy crisis and things like that. Now they're looking for a different deal. Now you see Turkey is ahead of the game. It's like, look, before, America tried to cut us off and try to come over here and attack us and take these things away from us, let us buy our own missile defense system from Russia. All right, then what they're going to say now, before they try to cut us off from gas and this and that, let us try to make a backdoor deal so we can support our own selves. It says, and all your allies will turn against you, and they will help chase you from the land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. So, hey, again, oh no, we gonna follow the sanctions that you guys got placed onto Russia and everything else like that. The whole time they setting up a backdoor deal to where they can keep continuously buying this natural gas and this oil from Russia, man. All right, they're not trying to cut their own self out. They're not trying to shoot themselves in the foot. But this is what, America expects these nations to do, shoot themselves in the foot and take it happily, man, with a smile on their face. It says they will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you, and you won't even know about it. So, hey, before you even realize what's going on, before you even see what's popping off, hey, man, at the end all be all, you have, basically these nations have already, set up, contingency plans for, like, what, we see where America's going. We know that they're not going to let up. We know that these things, and this is how it's going to end for us. They're not trying to sit over here. We see the EU and everybody else that's faltering from these energy crises and things like that. You don't see America over there trying to make a plan for them. I mean, they have plans for them, but these plans aren't, like I said, realistic. We can use Ukraine and this and that, but you have to convert over. I'll give you an example. All right, yeah, we can save you $50 on your next purchase at the store, but it's going to cost you $150 to save that $50. Like, bro, well, the hell I got to pay an extra $100 just to save? That don't even make sense. I'd just rather pay the regular price for it at that point, But this is the situation that, America is putting their own allies into, man. This is what's going to bring them. We're going to close out with this. This is what's going to bring them to the inevitable end of planning it, whatever already planning and plotting on them, but it's going to bring them to the inevitable end of this. Revelation 1 and 17, 1 and 16. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore and make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So we're coming into that point in time to where we're starting to see these things take place at this point in time, where they're plotting up to deceive and destroy America, man. All right, you see the plans being put in place. Like, look, man, if we can't do it this way, they want us to keep fight a war against Russia. They want us to put sanctions on Russia and do all these things. And now if we don't, what are they going to do? They're going to put sanctions on us. Then we'll wind up being in an economic crisis, just like how Europe is in right now. Well, guess what we have to do? If they're going to do that, then we have to sit there and make provisions for that. We got to be one step ahead of them. Just like with Turkey and the S-400. Well, if we do X, Y, and Z and piss off America, what they going to do? They're going to come over here and try to bomb us? All right, well, we'll just get a missile defense system that can be able to see and shoot their planes out the sky, so they won't come over here and do all these things, man. Are they going to cut us off economically so we can't buy gas and we can't, use their money to be able to buy gas? Are they going to charge us extra for it? No worries. We'll just make a backdoor plan for these things, man. All while plotting to get her up out of our hairs. Because look, man, how much longer can we we'll close out with that. As a matter of fact, Habakkuk, we'll go back to Habakkuk 2, Habakkuk 2 and 6. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, and how long to him that ladeth himself with thick clay? Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booty unto them? It says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land and the city, and all that dwell therein. So these nations are planning and plotting to take you out, man. All right, they're all trying to set up contingency plans, plan Bs and everything else like that, to where, hey, when things start getting rough, this is what they're going to wind up doing. Oh, you going to cut us off? All right, no problem. We already got a backup plan. Oh, you going to do this and do that to us? No problem. We already got a backup plan for these things. And ultimately, what they're going to do is take America out of the whole picture as a whole, man. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakakudash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and every will. And salutation, much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.